First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for allowing me to speak today. I can honestly say I'm humbled by the distinguished individuals that make up this room. As congressmen and women, you all hold the keys to our nation's future and maintain order in a nation that is like no other. My name is Byron Amos, and I'm a chief member from the National Council of Energy Security. If you would please so generously lend me your ears and your hearts, I will describe to you the best way that I can, while I'm afraid of the path this nation is taking on some extremely critical issues. When it comes to a matter of homeland security, a crashing job market, and economic stability in far sights, there comes a time when we must look to possible solutions that have either constantly been overlooked or continually prohibited. We cannot taste the satisfaction of living the lives we deserve to live as Americans due to restrictions. And what hurts me the most, and what's most hard to fathom, is that this issue is so incredibly avoidable. The United States is entirely too dependent on foreign oil. When you look at how much we have and how much we import, it's absolutely astonishing. According to the National Bureau of Economic Research, an article stated back in February of 2010 that we import over 60% of the oil that we utilize in the United States. This makes us so vulnerable economically to other countries. Not to mention, countries that have the upper hand on us with the oil industry use this against us in foreign policies, and in turn, foreign defense policy. That creates terrible problems for our homeland security, which is a big deal. We have so much oil on our own soil. An article in early November of 2011 from the article of Institute of Energy Research stated that we're the only developed nation on Earth that prohibits research and exploration of offshore energy resources. I know when you look at it from that point of view, you cannot help but feel perturbed. How can we call ourselves a powerhouse nation when we restrain ourselves from economic stability like this? The countries that we rely most heavily on are Venezuela, Mexico, Canada, and Saudi Arabia. These countries do not deserve the upper hand they have in the United States when it comes to oil business. The nation, right now, our nation, we're researching more and more on new energy and new ways to find oil. The most interesting, I believe, being oil shale. Oil shale is a hydrocarbon trapped in a sedimentary rock, which can be utilized and turned into crude oil. The United States Department of Energy stated back in November of 2010 that we had an estimated 6 trillion barrels of oil shale, or oil equivalent in the oil shale. This is not even including the amount of oil we have in Alaska, North Dakota, South Dakota, and offshore. We must produce our own oil. It's imperative. If we were to start tomorrow processing and producing just a small amount of what we possess, the numbers would be hard to ignore. Economic stability would increase. Homeland security would absolutely increase. And we would get out from under stronghold nations that don't deserve it, the upper hand they have on us. Penn State professors conducted a study in February of 2010 on a study on Marcellus Shale Plant, which is an oil shale plant in Pennsylvania. Those numbers are hard to ignore. This one small operation pumps billions of dollars into the state's economy and provides tens of thousands of jobs in a suffering job environment. I understand most of you are very tied to the environment, and the main opposing force of this is environmental stability. Researching for oil does cultivate and utilize environments that are usually left undisturbed. That is the problem, and we understand. However, now, more research is going into the effects on byproducts of oil and wildlife. Not to mention, this nation's recovery and response systems are absolutely unbelievable. I had the opportunity 2 years ago to work for BP during this nation's worst oil spill to date. We worked tirelessly, 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, to recon and clean up what was the worst thing to happen to the Gulf of Mexico. It's 2 years now, and what I call home, the coastlines that I call home, are cleaner and more prettier now than they've ever been. We have a very talented energy exploration workforce here in the United States. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you to instill in them the trust, resources, and support that they deserve. America cannot visualize oil independence. We've never had the option. Many of us, for the majority or the entirety of our lives, have suffered from the latter effects. Could you imagine paying absolutely next to nothing to get here today to this conference and this luncheon? Filling up your tanks this weekend to go on your trip and absolutely paying nothing for an American-made and produced product? Could you imagine getting out from under these countries that have the stronghold on us, that do not deserve it? Many of you have family members that are out of work. Imagine them getting a high-paying job in the industry. All of this is so very possible by producing and utilizing our own resources. It's time. Gas prices have spiked twice in the past decade, once in 2004 and once in 2008. I do not want to see what could happen to this nation if it happened again today. I do not think we could defend it. There is no way to defend it. We don't set the prices. We don't move the oil because we don't produce the oil. The effects coming from this would only be beneficial when the wrong effects, the latter of choosing to ignore the situation, could surely lead to the damnation of this country. As mentioned earlier, you all are the key holders to our future, and you maintain order in this nation that we love and deserve to maintain free and one of progress. Many of you are very well aware of the Oil Independence for a Stronger America Act, and many of you supported it back when it was introduced in 2010. For those of you that did support it, I thank you, and I'm asking you to increase support and spread the word. For those of you who are not, I'm begging you to take action now and educate yourselves through the U.S. Department of Energy Research and some of these sources, and understand the benefits and the ladders of this situation is crucial. We have elected you to maintain progress and freedom in this nation, and we deserve it. Thank you.